Jones lines a single to right center field. In rounding first base, Todd Zeile was in the way, or so said Rob Cook, the first base umpire. Lee Mazzilli called attention to it, saying that was obstruction immediately. A young umpire, perhaps intimidated by the older Lee Mazzilli. Bobby Valentine argued the call. He protested the game. The Yankees end up scoring 2, and then Tino Martinez, with the game tied at 2, breaks the lock at 2-2 in the 6th inning with home run number 8 on the year, and the Yankees won a remarkable ball game.
We may have to give that win to Lee Mazzilli at first base. There you see the Lions score, but look at that. Doc Gooden first win. The Yankees trying to catch lightning in the bottom.
Clemens with the slider. Bases loaded, and Piazza unloads. A grand slam home run to deep center field. A couple of innings later, Edgardo Alfonzo with a home run. Roger Clemens has not fared well against the Mets in a Yankee uniform. He is 0-3 in interleague play.
Windows, and it is Lenny Harris who will lead it off for Bobby Valentine and his crew. He'll be followed by Derek Bell, Edgardo Alfonzo at second base, Mike Piazza, the designated hitter tonight. As they play in the American League City, Robin Ventura at third base, Todd Zeile at first base, Jay Payton back out at center field, Todd Pratt that is, behind home plate, and Melvin Mora at shortstop.
And MasterCard gives credit to the Yankee defense. Shane Spencer in left field, Bernie Williams at center, Paul O'Neill in right, Scott Brocious the third baseman. Derek Jeter had a terrific first game, couple of RBIs, couple of runs scored. Chuck Knoblauch on that disputed play at first base. As a matter of fact, 2 controversial plays. We will tell you about them later. Tino Martinez and Chris Turner in there. And interestingly, Jorge Posada is not behind the plate. Joe's saying today that he may DH, he may be at first, but since Tino Martinez had such a good game, Jorge Posada for the time being given the night off. So Turner behind the plate to catch the rocket. Roger Clemens, who is 5-6 on the year, his 16th start. He has won 252 Major League games. And Roger trying to beat the Mets for the first time in a Yankee uniform.
And we understand that Roger not feeling totally up to par tonight. He's had a little bit of a touch of the flu, but he's out on the mound and looks like he has shaved the sides and he's ready to go. Bobby Valentine only lasted 1 pitch in the game this afternoon at Shea Stadium, and he was kicked out of the game because of that controversial play. Doc Gooden started that game, and he wins it 4-2, his first win in an awful long time. In fact, his career has been revived now by the Yankees, believing in Doc Gooden, and he gave him a good performance.
Bobby, I think with Roger Clemens with the flu, it kind of makes him on an even par with the Mets. The Mets are tired. Roger's got the flu, so that balances things out.
Especially Alfonzo, Piazza, and Ventura. They both, at all 3, have the flu with their bats compared to this Yankee pitching. The first couple of games only, I think, 1 hit and many, many times at bat. We're about ready to go. It's Lenny Harris leading off for the New York Mets. Second game of a split doubleheader here in the tri-state area. And the first pitch is in there for a called strike. Agbayani, who had gotten the start the first 2 games, Friday night in this afternoon's game at Shea Stadium, sits out the start of this game. At 77 degrees, it has been a picture-perfect day for baseball, especially, let's play 2 here. One at Shea and one at Yankee Stadium.
Vinny Agbayani with the base running mistake. You don't know how critical it was, but it certainly would have been an infield hit for Derek Bell. But Agbayani tagged out by Scott Brocious for the 3rd out in the 7th inning today.
Fastball way up high for ball 1. It's 1-1. Harris had to somewhat jump out of the way of that one. It was so high he didn't have to jump out of the way of it.
High noon? No.
Well, that's a pitch that Roger Clemens has lived with his whole life. He has to establish that heat inside. Harris stands on top of the plate, and it looks like they're going in there again. That pitch foul back and out of play, and now Clemens out in front, 1 ball to 2 strikes. Something very interesting as Derek Bell awaits on deck. When Clemens has had problems, he has had problems pitching behind in the count, not being able to throw the fastball by these major league hitters anymore. At Tampa Bay, when he came off the disabled list, pitched 7 strong innings for New York. And just misses outside. That'll make the count at 2-2, but we'll take another look at it, Timmy. The point I wanted to make is that Clemens was in front of these hitters most of the time throwing that first pitch strike, and that was very key and very important for him. Down low, now the count goes to 3-2. Does Clemens have an advantage over the Mets tonight? It's the second game. Maybe they are a little bit lethargic.
I think any pitcher.
He's a power pitcher.
Any pitcher. Glendon Rusch has an advantage over the Yankees. Any pitcher pitching the second game like it is tonight after having a team go out there when they're rested and the team's not has an advantage.
Fly ball to left field. Spencer is there. One gone for the Mets. That'll bring up Derek Bell. The last time Bell was at Yankee Stadium back in June, he was fighting a horrible slump at home plate. He has come out of it, batting now .313 with those 12 home runs and 52 runs batted in, and 2 for 4 in this afternoon's game.
He's just the opposite right now. He may be the hottest hitter on the Mets ball club, with the possible exception of Todd Zeile.
Didn't get a chance to hear the post-game comments, but of course Derek Bell getting his hit versus Doc Gooden, and he and Gooden very close friends, and Derek Bell saying that he idolized Doc Gooden, and they live in the same area together and spend a lot of time. Big swing by Bell, and Clemens throws it by him, so now it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
That's the thing Clemens has to do. Throw the fastball down the middle of the plate. Rely on his power. That's what, or powder, doesn't matter. That was Al Leiter, who pitched a fine ball game last night, but he was bested by El Duque. What a ball game last night. What a ball game today. Unbelievable.
That game could have gone either way, Leiter or El Duque. El Duque has so many times for the Yankees since he donned the Yankee pinstripes, pitching big games. Outside corner for strike 2, 2-2. Clemens could use the power and also the precision, working the ball inside outside. He will be extremely tough tonight. Alfonzo waits on deck. One gone for the Mets. Top the first. Once again, Clemens has gone to a 3-2 count.
Derek Jeter was all over the place at Shea Stadium this afternoon. What a game.
Now back it out of play, so we'll come back and do that one over again. Bell also donning uniform number 16 because of Doc Gooden being his closest friend and getting permission to wear that uniform. Good today put on uniform number 17 for the Yankees. Line into right field, base hit. Quickly over is O'Neill, and Bell continues to hit. First hit of this game.
Anybody who uses the other part of the field from a line drive down, you can see that ball was inside to Derek Bell. And he inside outed the ball hard to right center. Nice play by Paul O'Neill to cut it down. And now Edgardo Alfonzo hitless on Friday and this afternoon, as was Mike Piazza. That's a big reason that the Mets were held to only 3 runs in the last 18 innings. The first time that the two of them have gone hitless in back-to-back games since September of 1998.
Well, that's the reason that the Yankees have taken the first couple of games. You can also throw Robin Ventura in there. That's the meat of this order. You're talking about 3, 4, and 5 for Bobby Valentine. And the Yankee pitching staff has literally just shut them totally down.
Yeah, the bookends are doing well. Bell on the front end, Zeile on the back end, but not the middle 3.
Rocha. 5, 4, 3, double play. What is new for the Yankees? And Scott Knoblauch leads an off. Jeter, O'Neill, Bernie Williams in center field. Tino Martinez, David Justice, the designated hitter. Shane Spencer, Chris Turner, and then Scott Brocious. Rusch started his career with the Royals. 17th draft pick in June. And Knoblauch swinging at the first pitch. Actually, he kind of tomahawked it, lining it sharply to Peyton in center field. One pitch, one out. Almost like this afternoon, deja vu all over again.
I was thinking the same thing, Bobby. What if Chuck Knoblauch on the first pitch hits a gapper and has to round first base? You wonder where Todd Zeile would be. Because it was the first pitch that Knoblauch hit today in the right center off Bobby Jones. Obstruction was called on Todd Zeile. Bobby Valentine was kicked out of the game. This is on the first pitch. The Mets protested the game. Obviously, we'll hear about that sometimes next week after the All-Star game, whether the protest was accepted or not. Most of them aren't, and I doubt that the Mets have calls here. But if I were Bobby Valentine, I would have lodged a protest also.
And that's what they did as Derek Jeter steps in, and the first pitch to Jeter up high for a ball. DJ now batting .328, 9 home runs, and 37 runs batted in. That pitch fouled off to the right side and out of play. Well, you were talking about that obstruction in the rule book. When you talk about obstruction, we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but today Jeter 2 for 5. This afternoon over at Shea. Get a chance here to read you what the rule book says about that. That'll be foul off the left side. Obstruction is the act of a fielder who, while not in possession of the ball and not in the act of fielding the ball, impedes the progress of any runner.
And I think that impedes the progress. And Rob Cook, the young umpire behind the plate tonight, I beg your pardon, that's Doug Eddings behind the plate tonight. Actually, Rob Cook, they changed 2 umpires as Jeter goes down on strikes. 2 umpires were changed in tonight's game. So Doug Eddings is behind the plate, and Rob Cook's down at third base. He was the first base umpire this afternoon when Lee Mazzilli argued the call and got the call for the Mets. Here's the defense brought to you by MasterCard. Lenny Harrison left, Jay Payton in center, Derek Bell the right fielder, Robin Ventura, Melvin Mora, Edgardo, Alfonzo, Todd Zeile, and Todd Pratt behind the plate with Mike Piazza as the designated hitter this evening.
Paul O'Neill goes the opposite way for the first hit for the Yankees. The 2 outs here at the bottom of the first. Left-handed batters starting this game has hit Glendon Rusch much better than right-handers. They're almost hitting .400. That'll go up now with that O'Neill base hit.
Left-handed hitters batting .389 against Glendon Rusch before that hit. And Paul O'Neill has hit left-handers very well. Paul 0 for 5 this afternoon with the 2-out single. What a bizarre day this has been. And last night, that great catch by Paul O'Neill, great pitcher's duel.
That catch by Paul off the bat of Derek Bell saved the game for the Yankees in El Duque. He went literally over the fence to rob him of a home run. And that would have been a 2-run shot. Fox 5 and the Toyota dealers are proud to present World Championship New York Yankee Baseball, now available on the SAP channel of your television. Please don't miss it. Well, the Yankees have a runner on, and this is Bernie Williams. Bernie's hitting streak went by the wayside this afternoon as he went 0 for 2. But the numbers are staggering for Bernie. Roberto Clemente Jr. along with the gang on the SAP channel. Todd Zeile and the Mets, especially Zeile, plays out in front of that runner, almost like he is deking that runner, getting him to get a little bit further off of first base than what he normally should. High fly ball. It's shallow, coming on his Peyton, a long run. He finally gets there to make the catch. He had to come a long way, but he's young and he's got lots of speed, so no problem for him. We've played one, still no score. Alfonzo Piazza being held hitless in consecutive game starts. That hasn't happened since 1998. Now look what Robin Ventura, batting behind Piazza. He's only 1 for 8. What is that?
That's
1 for 24.
Yep.
And the Yankees have won the first 2 games. Piazza, though, steps in here in the second. 348 batting average, 24 home runs, 72 runs batted in. And it's strike 1.
Piazza, as he often does, takes that first strike. He has 3 home runs in his last 7 at-bats against Roger Clemens.
And batting a pure .583 against Roger. That may, I don't know if that hit Piazza's arm or the bat. He is stunned at home plate. My goodness. My goodness. All I could hear up here, Tim, was the biggest crack in the world, and I'm hoping that it caught most of the bat.
You talked about Roger Clemens doing that to Lenny Harris, and he did. Coming up and into Mike Piazza, the one thing he did not want to do was wake the Mets up. We reiterate, Piazza, Alfonzo, Ventura, 1 for 24. However, Piazza's hit Clemens very well. He got the strike, then threw up and in. We'll see if the Mets retaliate. Oh, boy. Right in the coconut. Oh, man.
Thank heavens for helmets.
And thank heavens for ear flaps. It hit Mike, it appeared, between the flap of the hat
and the bill.
And the bill.
And it looked like it was more or less of a glancing blow, but that doesn't make any difference. That was very, very dangerous. And even with the helmet on, you take the big brunt of that blow. That's got to be a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Man, oh man. Let's take a listen to this as Piazza is hit.
Full speed. Any thoughts of these two teams pacing themselves? Now it's over. This up the level right here. Whether right, wrong, or indifferent, expect the Mets to retaliate. And if they do, you can't really blame them. No bloodlust here. I'm just talking about the way the game's played. And if Roger Clemens were hitting, if this were a National League game at Shea Stadium, he'd be the guy who got it. But because they're at Yankee Stadium, the designated hitter is used. Piazza will be taken from the game, and thankfully, he appears to be all right, at least leaving under his own power.
Obviously a little bit stunned, and Piazza, after being hit, did not lose consciousness that I saw of. You can see it hit at a glancing blow the bill and right at the top of the helmet. So Piazza will leave the game in a very scary moment here at Yankee Stadium.
Saw that look on Joe Torre's face, that Joe realizing how close that was. I mean, after all, Mike Piazza supposed to be the starting catcher in Tuesday night's All-Star game in Atlanta. Alex Rodriguez with a concussion last night. He will not start in that game, probably will be replaced, and we are hopeful that Mike Piazza is all right. Piazza was the designated hitter, and Matt Franco will be the pinch runner at first base for Piazza.
So Franco is on, and we certainly will bring you any report that we get on Piazza as this game progresses. Right now it's Robin Ventura stepping in. And popping the first pitch up down the left field line. When those things happen, such as what happened to Piazza, it just kind of gives you a sick feeling in your stomach because you know how serious that could have been.
Out of the All-Star game already, Mark McGwire, a sore right knee. He'll miss Atlanta. So will Alex Rodriguez with the concussion. Barry Bonds fractured a finger on his right thumb. He has missed the last 5 games. Don't know whether he's going to start in Atlanta.
Rodriguez in a play at second base last night was kneed in the head and lost consciousness, and Luckily, he is all right today. Spent the night in the hospital. Is out today as Robin Ventura swings and fouls that ball out of the glove of Turner. So it's no balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out for the Mets here at the top of the 2nd inning.
Another All-Star, Pedro Martinez, was not selected to the All-Star team because he's on the disabled list.
Time is called at home. As we mentioned, Ventura in this series only 1 hit in 8 at-bats. And somehow, with that Piazza beating, this crowd is not as joyous and as boastful as it was when this game started. It has taken something out of the crowd as Piazza left.
That's a good pickup, Bobby, as Ventura goes down on strikes. The crowd sensing something amiss right here. I saw the perfect storm yesterday, and in the eye of that perfect storm was an eerie calm. And there's an eerie calm when one of the star players in the game and one of the star players in this city was hit like Piazza just was.
1 gone, and Todd Zio takes the first pitch up high for ball 1.
Don Zimmer was beamed twice in the minor leagues. He was in a coma for a week. That was before the batting helmets. There's Don right there. Of course, everybody knows Zim. He has an iron plate in his head and has worn that, or had that for, what, 46 years, I guess. That was before helmets, of course.
Down low for ball 2. So Clemens, after the beating of Piazza.
Tell you, every Met player is on the top step of the dugout since the beating. Every single guy in uniform. Count them.
2 balls and a strike now to Zio.
So whether fair or not, regardless of what, I'm just telling you the way the game is played. Piazza had hit Clemens. We mentioned 3 home runs in his last 7 at-bats. On an 0-1 pitch, he was hit in the head. Immediately, everybody in uniform went to the top step. Not one person in a Yankee uniform is on the top step. Not one.
If I'm not mistaken, after Piazza was on his way towards the Met dugout, I think the home plate umpire, that would be Doug Eddings. Down low for ball 3, 3-1. Doug Eddings immediately went over to talk to Bobby Valentine, maybe trying to calm maybe a major event that would happen after this.
No warning was issued, obviously.
I don't recall, and I didn't see a warning.
We saw. No.
Yeah. High fly ball left field. Spencer doesn't see it. It's in the dusk of the night, and finally he picks it up. He threw his hand down like, I don't see it, I need help, and then finally recovered quick enough to make the catch.
You could see Shea Spencer wide-eyed right there, and that's what Bobby was talking about. Where is it? Now I have it.
I don't know why I didn't use that new word that you taught me
gloaming.
A long time ago. Gloaming. Yeah, in the gloaming.
It's in the gloaming here.
So 2 gone now. That'll bring up Jay Payton, the center fielder. Popped him up down the right side. And Tino Martinez will run out of room about 6 rows back along the Yankee side.
I tell you, ever since you said that about the crowd,
I mean, there's a hush.
It's almost like the joy and the energy has been sapped from this crowd.
Well, I mean, I actually feel the same way because you just feel like that when you see something of that nature, you know how dangerous it is. And you and I have been around this game for a long, long time, and I've been hit in the head, and I'm sure you have too. To see that any player, especially a guy like Piazza. Nice play by Brocious. Great play. Wicked hop for Brocious makes the play to Knoblauch. And the Mets are gone here at the top of the 2nd. Continue to update you on Mike Piazza as he was beamed by Roger Clemens in this inning. Yankees coming up. Well, back here at the stadium, the Yankees coming up in the bottom of the second inning. It will be Tito Martinez leading off against the left-hander Rush, followed by Justice and then Spencer. And the first pitch to Tino on the inside corner for a called strike. John Franco along with Al Leiter. And that pitch hits Tito Martinez, and immediately here's the home plate umpire, Doug Eddings, warning both pitches as Tino just walked down to first base knowing that that was coming.
Now you can't blame Glendon Rusch. Valentine got a chance of being kicked out of 2 games today. He only lasted a third of an out, not even that, this afternoon. 1 base runner. Now he's going to talk to Doug Eddings, home plate umpire, or Tim Welke, who is in, Tim the crew chief. But you can't blame Glendon Rusch for that. I mean, that's the way baseball is played. You kind of knew that was coming.
Immediately, it was Eddings behind home plate. He had a sense that this was going to happen. I got a feeling, but he waited till it happened and then finally warned both benches. He had not warned them prior to that, even though he had gone over to talk to Bobby Valentine.
So the rule is that the next guy, in the opinion of the home plate umpire,
right,
the next guy who gets hit, both the pitcher and the manager will be ejected.
Valentine is not going to go easy. He is having his say, especially for what happened this afternoon. Set it off, and then this is the topping on the cake as Piazza was beamed. You just kind of hate to see something like this, since the first 2 games were just beautifully played games. Lots of good pitching, timely hitting, mostly by the Yankees. A couple of bizarre incidences, such as the controversial play, the first pitch of today's game.
Roger Clemens initiated this, period, plain and simple. Glendon Rusch came back. He had Tino Martinez in the rear end. Tino goes to first. Maybe over, maybe not. These 2 teams meet again tomorrow night. Andy Pettit and Mike Hampton go at one another.
So Spencer checked that Justice, the designated hitter, will step in, and he tried to check his swing, but didn't hold up, so it's going to be called a strike. Joe Torre going with 3 left-handed bats in his lineup tonight. As we mentioned, Glendon Rusch started the game at a .389 average versus left-handed hitters on the year.
283 lifetime, higher than his right-handed, against right-handed pitchers. One reason that Glendon Rusch is easy to hit for a left-handed batter is that he doesn't have a tailing fastball. Show me a left-hander without a tailing fastball where a left-handed hitter has to worry about that pitch. They can go in off the plate. Everything's away from them. They take the inside part of the plate away from it.
And Rush's fastball is only about 80 or 85 miles an hour. As we take a look at the Coors Light scouting report on Glendon Rusch, not an overpowering fastball. We mentioned that. Not to be rushed. He likes to work quickly and murder on lefties. Or the lefties murder him.
Yeah, that's
what it should be.
Right.
You can see Justice way out in front of that fastball, and without that tailing fastball, as you mentioned, Cookie Rojas. You mentioned, Tim, that tailing fastball's got to get in on the hands of those left-handers, otherwise it's just straighten out over the plate.
Had a look at Bobby Jones, who pitched today. Great ball game, won by the Yankees 4-2.
Alfonzo Tamora for one, back to first base, not in time, so they do get the lead run.
Man, you talk about cheating at second base. Melvin Mora was in short right when he made that play. The neighborhood play is usually called at second base, but watch Mora. He wasn't even close to the bag, trying to avoid the base runner. He was about 4 feet from the bag. One more time.
I would say, Timmy, that he was somewhere between Yankee Stadium and Shea Stadium on that pivot at second.
On the Grand Central. It was a neighborhood play, but he was in the wrong neighborhood.
Right. So Shane Spencer now will step in. Spencer was 0 for 1 this afternoon. Batting .282, 9 home runs, and 40 runs batted in. No score in this game. Outside corner, strike 1, 1-1. You can see Rusch. He likes to get the ball and look in for the sign and deliver. No messing around on the mound. That'll be out of play. Also, Rusch's numbers versus the Yankees, not very good. Most of them coming as a Kansas City Royal. 0-5 in 6 appearances here against the Yankees. Somewhere around almost a 9 earned run average in his career versus the Yanks. Inside corner, strike 3. He got Spencer out looking out over the plate, busted him inside, 2 gone.
That was a good sequence of pitches by Glendon Rusch. Fastball away, breaking ball away, the changeup fouled off, and then they popped the fastball to freeze Shane Spencer.
That'll bring up the catcher, Chris Turner. And quickly Rusch out in front of Turner, 0-1. Boy, since the beating of Piazza, the New York Mets have a watchful eye on this game. And every pitch, every hit, every play. Now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Turner. Third game of this 4-game series. Yankees and the Mets will play the 4th game tomorrow afternoon back at Shea.
Mets all on the top step. They'll probably be there till the end of the game. The Yankees sitting.
Rusch pulling the trigger on Turner, striking him out.
Talked about Doug Eddings, Rob Drake down at first, Tim Welke, the crew chief, at second, and Rob Cook, who made one of the controversial calls at Shea Stadium on the first pitch of the ball game. What was to be a single and an error on Todd Zeile for obstruction when the Yankees scored 2 in the first. They have done that the last 2 nights, but we are scoreless here. In the top of the 3rd is Todd Pratt. Takes a fastball, ball 1. Low, ball 2. Steve Hurd, our man from Elias, is in our booth, and he brings up 2 very good points. Is it a proper exchange for Roger Clemens, a guy who throws 95 miles an hour, to hit Mike Piazza in the head, and Glendon Rusch, who throws 82, to hit Tino Martinez in the rear end? The answer to that is clearly no. That's not an exchange if it was purposely done by Clemens. The other thing is an interesting point that I haven't really thought about. We mentioned on the air that, and of course we have access to that information, that Piazza had 3 home runs in his last 7 at-bats against Clemens. This one popped up and out of play, 2-2 to Todd Pratt. Now, should an umpire have access to that information, and should he be swayed perhaps by that information if a pitcher nails a hitter because he's been hitting him well? It's an interesting point. I'm not saying one way or the other, but...
Well, just to take that a little bit further, immediately Doug Eddings behind home plate as soon as Tino Martinez was hit. As soon as Tino was hit, the first thing that he did was warn both benches, so obviously he had a feeling that maybe this was going to come and there was some retaliation in store.
Rojas all over the place at third. His 3rd assist, 1 out here in the 3rd inning. Well, that's normal. An umpire like that is going to, when Piazza's hit in the head, anybody who is hit, you know it's going to be an automatic warning. But you could see the body language of Alfonzo pointing to the left side of his head. Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, motioning to that particular side to his side. And you can see Alfonzo again talking about the head and shaking his head no. You know what the players are saying. Hit me in the body, don't hit me in the head.
Alfonso, you can see he was putting the two fingers up to his mouth like it could have been a splitter or a spitter or whatever it was, and maybe slipped out of the hand. The hardest place to hit a hitter, if you are intentionally trying to hit him, is in the head. Most of the time, you don't get hit in the head unless you freeze or the ball is moving in on you. Most of the time, that's what happens. But the head is the hardest place to hit anybody, and normally you don't get hit in the head unless you freeze. Now, from the lower body down, you can almost plunk them anytime you want to.
Well, you hit players in the head by throwing behind them, and that ball was not behind Mike Piazza. That was at the front part of the head, and Mike did not get out of the way in a hurry, but that ball bearing in on him, keep in mind. Popped up. And Tino makes the play. There are 2 outs here in the 3rd inning. Let's take one more look at the shot to the head by Piazza from Clemens.
Doesn't get any better the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th time around.
And once again, everybody hopeful that Mike Piazza is okay. This one lifted to right field by Lenny Harris, and Paul O'Neill makes the play. That's 6 in a row now. Retired ahead by Roger Clemens. Tino Martinez hit in the rear end by Glendon Rusch. And the 2 hits by both clubs. A single by Derek Bell. There's David Cohn looking on, and a single by Paul O'Neill to left field. As Scott Brocious takes ball 1, 1-1 to Scott.
We just got this over the PA announcement here. Piazza being examined by a team physician here at the stadium right now, and hopefully we'll have the results of that when that examination is over with. The one good thing about Piazza, he got up and walked off on his own after being beaten. I take that as being a good sign.
Changeup was low. 3 balls and a strike to Scott Brocious. Al Leiter and Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, commiserating. This ball fouled out of play. Full count now to Brocious. Last night's loser. He is 10-2 on the year. Will start the All-Star game. And the way the National League is going, he hopes to have 8 guys or 7 guys behind him and 1 in front of him.
Really?
Man. Foul back on a good cut. Still 3-2 to Scott Brocious.
Well, Glendon Rusch got knocked around his last start against the Atlanta Braves, but Glendon saying that he was involved in a off-season program. Most of the guys are lifting weights. He was in a yoga program.
Fly ball, center field, playable for Peyton. Jay puts it away. 1 out here in the 3rd.
Not only does yoga help you with your flexibility,
but it also helps Fox, as Fox presents a new series about the sweet smell of success. It's strong enough for men, but made for women. How about that, partner? From the creator of Sex in the City comes The Street. This fall, only to Fox 5.
Well, also women do yoga too. It helps them out along with men. And I was mentioning that Rush not in a weightlifting program like most guys, but in that yoga program. And he says his confidence is a lot better. His mental makeup, his focus is a lot better. And of course, when you do yoga, they not only work on your mental aspect, your mind, but also your flexibility of your body.
Stretching,
breathing.
Stretching brings strength, as does deep breathing. 2 balls and no strikes to Knoblauch.
Very young when he joined the Kansas City Royals, and they threw him into a starting rotation and built him up to be the next Paul Splittorff over there. That just didn't happen for him. He used to leave a lot of these bad games behind. You can see that he's left a lot of games behind with the Yankees. 0-5. We mentioned that 8.90 earned run average.
3-0 to Knoblauch, and there's a strike to Chuck. 3-1. Glendon only 25 years old. and this is his 8th year in professional ball. Hit deep to left center field, but not deep enough. I remember Del Crandall with 2 out here in the 3rd inning. You hear so many things, catching behind hitters and making comments and all that. Crandall, we were only playing 1 game in Milwaukee back in the middle 60s, early 60s. Crandall fouls one off down the right field line, and he said, "You know what that was?" And I, being 21, naive, stupid, dumb, looked up. "No," he said, "that was the 2nd game of a doubleheader swing." I said, "We're only playing 1 game." He said, "Yeah, but that was the 2nd game of a doubleheader swing." And so far, we've seen a lot of those here tonight, and with good reason. I mean, these guys, they played last night, a tough ball game, tough game today. We've had a knockdown battle in the first 2 innings. These guys are tired. So the pitchers have the advantage, and they're proving it here at Yankee Stadium. What a day. No score after 3. No score here in the top of the 4th inning. Roger Clemens against Glendon Rusch. Time for our Dodge trivia question. Who were the only 2 MVPs to play for both the Yankees and Mets? We understand that one of the MVPs won it as a Yankee, and the other MVP won it as neither a Yankee or a Met. But they played for both the Yankees and Mets, as this one drops foul. I mean, just foul.
Well, there's no foul room down the right or left field line, just barely. And I think that hit on top of the tarpaulin down the right field line, or at least on top of the wall, maybe. You can see the foul territory, very little, if any. And, yeah, caught on just the edge of the tarpaulin.
Yeah, how many tarps in Major League Baseball are just foul? That tarp is only a yard off the right field foul line.
You know, we know about the Yankees making it from Shea Stadium to Yankee Stadium this afternoon with that police escort in only 14 minutes. That's obviously record time. Mets coming a little bit later. Derek Bell has his yacht parked somewhere in New York. He used to park it over by Shea Stadium, just outside the stadium over there. You think he came by yacht this afternoon and maybe parked it out along the Hudson or East River?
Don't know. Would have been a fanciful way to come to Yankee Stadium.
Now, wouldn't it be?
Where are you going to park near Yankee Stadium if you came in a yacht? East River?
I think yeah, right over here they have a, I think that's where the Yankee yacht pulls up to let the passengers off.
1-1 to Derek Bell. Well, he has been sailing along at a rapid pace against the Yankees and against everybody else. He is 1 for 1 in this game, 2 for 4 with a stolen base and an RBI this afternoon. Fouled away, 2-2 to Derek Bell. Derek with a very long swing. Edgardo Alfonzo on deck with a short stroke. When you have a long swing, you have a tendency to hit a lot of balls to center field and to right center. And sure enough, Bell with a lot of power the other way.
And the long swing, what you say is that it takes a long time to get the bat head through the strike zone to meet the ball out in front. You normally are meeting it halfway or even with you.
The splitter gets Bell. So 1 out here in the 4th of a scoreless game, and that'll bring up Edgardo Alfonzo.
Well, the bottom just falls out of it. You can see Bell swinging over the top of it. When Roger was getting hurt with that pitch, it was the tumbler just tumbling in the strike zone with no downward movement.
Alfonzo looking for his first hit of the series. He's 0 for 9, and the splitter is down. Ball 1. There's a strike on the corner, 1-1 to Fonzie, as his friends call him. And his career against the Yankees, the lowest against any team, 11 for 55. Hard by Brocious, and because Scott got a glove on it, it holds Alfonzo to a single. So there's the first hit in 10 trips against the Yankees over the last 24 hours.
And he had to hit it hard, and how he got it past Brocious was because he hooked it. And Brocious does get some leather on it, saving a double and a runner moving into scoring position. Alfonso's always going to be, in my opinion, a hitter that's going to hit for average because he hits the ball to all field. He's a gapper, right, left, up the middle. He doesn't strike out that much and puts the ball in play.
He's a power hitter, too.
Oh, he's got power.
You better believe he does.
But for average and with power.
27 home runs with 108 RBIs last year. 191 hits for Alfonso as Matt Franco steps up. Franco, pinch runner for Mike Piazza. Back in the second inning. If you have joined us late, opening the second on an 0-1 pitch, Mike Piazza hit in the head by Roger Clemens, a fastball. There was retaliation by the Mets as Glendon Rusch on an 0-1 pitch hit Tino Martinez to open up the bottom of the second inning. The warning was given by home plate umpire Doug Eddings, and the next time, in their opinion, if a pitcher throws at a hitter intentionally, both the pitcher and the manager will be ejected. 1-1 to Matt Franco.
Get a good case of the bats and how lazy they are coming through the strike zone. As you mentioned, the long delay in between two games. It's not like a regular doubleheader where you start within 30 minutes of the first game being played. Talking about the second game. Used to play a lot of Twilight split doubleheaders with the Minnesota Twins and the Boston Red Sox. They played a lot of those at those stadiums. And by the time you sat around 3 or 4 hours, you know, you just in big meal, and most of the time you do eat a pretty good sized meal in between
or
games.
Something, sure.
You try to take a quick 45-minute nap when you wake up. You know, you're not on your toes.
Yeah, you're damp.
It takes a while to get perked up a bit.
One pitch on the corner inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Matt Franco. Clemens has never beaten the Mets in a Yankee uniform. He is 1-4 lifetime, being 1-1 while with Toronto. First year of interleague play, 1997. And of course, that's when Clemens pitched for the Blue Jays. Splitter misses, 2-2 to Franco.
That appears to be the pitch that Franco is looking for, the way he reacts to the pitch, at least inside. A left-handed batter here at Yankee Stadium. Before you get 2 strikes on you, got to look for that one that you could drive out of the ballpark.
Here, a "Let's Go Mets" chant trying to be drowned out by Yankee fans. Line to right field, base hit. Alfonzo stops at second base, so Franco with the base hit. And that was on the splitter, Bobby.
The splitter out over the plate allows Franco to get the bad hit out, take advantage of that hole between first and second. And just the way he took a couple of those pitches before, we'll see if it's a splitter. Yes, it is. You can see it going down and away out over the plate. That was the pitch that Franco went up there to look for to hit the first place.
He took the 2 fastballs to get to strike 2. Finally got the splitter and delivered. Here's Robin Ventura with 2 on and 1 out. Scoreless game here in the top of the 4th inning. The Yankees won today 4-2 as Doc Gooden got a win in a Yankee uniform, and Robin Ventura fouls one back. 0-1 to Robin.
Well, the Met fans have had little to cheer about in the first 2 games, and they'll have to come to Yankee Stadium to try to cheer the loudest to get their team a win.
They haven't been ahead in 21 1/3 innings after splitting with the Yankees back in June. 1-1 to Ventura. Outside corner, strike 2. A delayed call from Doug Eddings. And 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ventura.
We understand now, Timmy, that Piazza has been taken to a hospital for x-rays.
Strike 3 call. Strikeout number 3 for Clemens. 2 outs here in the 4th.
Most of the left-handed hitters that have been up against Clemens have been looking for the pitch that's out on the plate. Clemens busting them inside. You see 2 fastballs, and then the splitter kind of rolling on the outside part of the plate. Comes back inside with the strikeout with a fastball. You see where the hands are, right on top of the middle of the, on the inside part of home plate. And left-handed crowd again, you got to figure they're going to swing at that pitch.
Well, when the arms go up, the batter sits down. Todd Zeile takes the strike. 0-1, as Zeile has been perhaps the best clutch hitter of the Mets over the last month. Again, with the exception of Piazza. 0-1 to Zeile. Strike 2 on the corner. Now the Yankees with a payback chant. Low, ball 1, 1-2. Toward third, Brocious, bare hand. Got him! Scott Brocious is everywhere. Middle of the 4th, still no score.
On the slow roller down to third base, better than Scott Brocious.
See, the Latin ending is Brocious, Brochet, or Brochie, or Brochai. The Brochai is plural, neuter gender, so it's plural. If there were more than one Brocious at third, it'd be a Brochie or Brochai. So since Scott is playing so well, there appears to be more than one Brocious down there, and that's my point. 0-2 now to Paul O'Neill. You were a Latin scholar.
I did take Latin.
I hated Latin.
Ego Diamo.
Hey.
Ego Diamo.
Hey, Gricola, Gricolay, buddy. Farmer.
Break a...
Gricola, Gricolay.
Oh.
Femina, Feminae.
We better get back to the English portion of this broadcast.
We could sap into Latin in a second.
Really.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Paul O'Neill. We're in the 4th. Escucha a los Yankees. Low to Paul. Paul with the base hit, a 2-out single in the 1st inning. That's the only hit the Yankees have. Only other base runner, Tino Martinez. Jorge Posada sits and waits. Jorge took an 0 for today, but he caught a winner. Caught Doc Gooden in his return to Shea Stadium. His first Shea Stadium appearance since June of '94. The curveball gets O'Neill. 1 out. 4 strikeouts now for Glendon Rusch.
Well, Tim, you talked about raising the arms. When you Jenny flinch, like he does right here with the lower part of your body, you're not going to hit the ball either. What a curveball from Glendon Rusch. Look at Paul. He reacts to the ball thinking that it's going to be way inside, and it breaks over the plate.
Nice Latin connection there with that genuflect. Here's Bernie Williams.
I didn't know that was Latin.
Well, it's not.
Oh,
Connection.
Latin connection.
Yep. Bernie's 17-game hitting streak was stopped today. He was 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. Bernie with 80 RBIs. Edgar Martinez missed 2 weeks of the season and has 86.
Well, clearly in the ballpark before Piazza was hit in the hit by a Clemens pitch. Piazza having a most valuable player year in the National League. Bernie putting up numbers right now that could be MVP type numbers by the time this year is over with. We are coming towards the halfway point of the year 2000. Bernie, of course, voted on the All-Star team as the starting center fielder for the American League.
Derek Jeter selected. Mariano Rivera selected. There's a strike to Bernie. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bernie Williams. This for the Yankees is game number 81. So we are right on the button after this game. This season will be half over. One and 2 to Bernie Williams. No score here in the 4th. Just outside. 2 and 2.
Rusch saying pitching here at Yankee Stadium when he was with the Kansas City Royals, he said it was extremely intimidating. We were young, and when we came to Yankee Stadium, of course, lots of history there. They have, 23, 24 World Championships.
3 and 2 now to Bernie Williams.
He said when you walk into Yankee Stadium and you know you're going to have to play the Yankees, young and naive, you're very intimidated, especially if you go out and take a look at all the plaques and things that have been put out into Monument Park to depict the players and the great players that have played for this ball club.
Breaking ball got him. 5 strikeouts now for Glendon Rusch. 2 outs here in the 4th.
But that was a few years ago. He is more mature now. He feels like he belongs, and he's got the stuff. And when you talk about the stuff, you talk about the curveball, the changeup, and the fastball at good location.
Tino Martinez hit his last time up, a retaliation pitch for Roger Clemens hitting Mike Piazza. When Tony Gwynn came here before the 1998 World Series, he came here a day early to take his son to Monument Park, get it out of his system so he wouldn't be intimidated when the San Diego Padres played in games 1 and 2 here at Yankee Stadium. Of course, the Yankees swept the Padres, but Gwynn had a good first 2 games. Won a 3-run home run here at the stadium. This one lifted to shallow right and caught by Derek Bell. That is 8 in a row now, retired by Rusch. Clemens, Rusch, no score.
Well, here at the bottom of the 5th inning, it will be the bottom of the lineup coming up for the Mets. Peyton starts it off. He'll be followed by Pratt and then Melvin Mora. Now, when you talk about families in a Subway Series, you may have some members of those families rooting for the Yankees and some rooting for the Mets. Down low at ball 1, strike 1 to Peyton, who grounded out his first time up. Lots of weird looking souvenir types depicting who they are rooting for. We saw the Yankee hat in front of the Mr. Met hat. That pitch on the outside corner for a called strike. Now it's 1 and 2 to Peyton. This game made possible if we take a look at our Tri-State Ford scoreboard in the National League, well, the Interleague, that is. 2 home runs for Ken Griffey Jr. Well hit into left center field. A long run for Spencer. And now it's going to be Bernie Williams as the ball tails back to him to make the play, and 1 gone. Atlanta over Boston 5-1. That's good for the Yankees. Florida 4-2 over Tampa Bay in the 7th inning on our Tri-State Ford scoreboard. Montreal losing to Toronto right now in the 7th. And it looks like Philadelphia slugging Baltimore One gone, and Todd Pratt, the hitter. Strike one to Pratt.
So with the Mets lost to the Yankees today, they're now 3 games behind the Atlanta Braves. The Braves winning 5-1 up at Fenway. The Braves win their game, and the Mets lose this game. It could go to 4 back in the National League East.
And with the Yankees win this afternoon, the Yankees had moved to a full game in front of Toronto starting in tonight's game. So the Yankees have won 4 in a row now. They were half a game in front prior to the start of the afternoon contest. Well, let's take a look at the standing. And it is updated here in the American League East. We mentioned that the Yankees have a full game now over Toronto. Boston 3 and Baltimore 8.5. We take a look at the Atlanta Mets in the American League. Check out the National League East. 3.5 games as Pratt takes one up high. Now it's 2-2. Strike 3. Clemens striking out his 4th Met. And there's 2 gone here in the 5th. Got to bring up Melvin Mora.
Both pitchers hitting the corners. Roger Clemens with his fastball. We talked about it before the game that if you're Roger Clemens or Glendon Rusch or anybody, stick with your fastball against a fatigued lineup. Both pitchers appear to be doing that and doing it very well. 9 strikeouts between the 2 pitchers. See, the pitchers rested. The hitters aren't.
Well, Glendon Rusch, I understand, didn't show up to today's game until about the 7th or 8th inning at Shea Stadium. Then he stayed and rode the bus over with the rest of the ball club. Clemens, as we showed up here at Yankee Stadium about 3:30 this afternoon. 2-out base hit to right field for Mora. And a nice play by Paul O'Neill to hold him to a single. So a 2-out hit, the 4th for the Mets. And that'll bring up Lenny Harris.
Now, Lenny Harris is a contact hitter, so look for him to take a strike or 2 to give Mora a chance to run. Bobby Valentine playing it like Joe Torre plays it, trying to put the speed at the bottom of the lineup and the speed at the top. Melvin Mora, a fast runner, and it's Valentine's style to send the runner here. 6 stolen bases on the year.
Clemens, in his last 18 pitches, first pitches that is, he has thrown 12 strikes. So if Harris, based on that, is waiting for Mora to take off, it's going to be strike 1 on him.
With 2 outs, it's often good to run early in the count so the hitter can hit. Get it over with. Because every time the pitcher throws over there, that takes away concentration from the hitter.
Well, you can see the hitter, he steps out of the batter's box every time.
Right.
Walks around a bit, try to get himself back in the right frame of mind before he steps in. Clemens has thrown over to first base 2 times now. Make it 3. Mora.
That's close to a balk. And we're talking about that with Roger Clemens. In one game, he balked the next game. He has 1 balk on the year. But you have to step toward first base. Roger on that spin move, it's very close to balking the 2 times he threw to first base. Most good moves are balk moves anyway. Don Drysdale mastered the balk move by leaning on that left leg. The Dodgers taught that. You lean just a bit on the left leg. When you lean toward the plate, you're committed home. And then you spin on the back leg and throw to first.
Strike on the outside corner, as we saw Andy Pettit when they had merged the American League and the National League umpiring together in the first game that Andy pitched. And there was a National League umpire on at first base. He went to first base, and he's got one of the best moves they thought in the American League. They called it a balk.
2 balks for Andy this year. and both have been called by National League umpires.
Big swing and a miss. That appeared to be a split-fingered fastball that went down. Now it's 1-2 on Lenny Harris.
Clemens has it all working tonight. He's gone away from that slider. He's thrown a handful, but for the most part, it's been a spotted fastball and the splitter.
Past the crowd on hand, and if Mora is going to take off or take a chance, this would be the time to do it. Four hits for the Mets and only one by the Yankees.
Fastball in here.
Mora stays, and the fastball goes outside. So now it's 2-2. There goes Mora. Pitch is down low, not handled properly by Chris Turner. So Mora with a 2-out stolen base and a runner in scoring position.
And he picked the right pitch on which to run. He ran on the splitter in the dirt. Chris Turner did what he could with it. He comes up with the ball, but has no play. Mora with a great jump. By the time Chris comes up with it, Mora's on second base. Stolen base number 7 in 10 tries for Mora this year.
Way outside and high, ball 4. So Clemens, after being in front of Harris, will walk him. That'll bring up Derek Bell with 2 men on. Joe Torre has one of the better poker faces in all of baseball for a manager. You couldn't tell if he was winning or losing or in between. Bell 1 for 2. Inside and tight, ball 1. Yes, this is the Subway Series, and yes, it is important. But it wouldn't be the same if the Yankees and the Mets, which could happen here in the year 2000, playing it and duking it out in the World Series. Outside corner for a call strike. Now it's 1-1.
It's remarkable. The first time through the order, batters are batting 184. And look at their progression. The second time, about 80 points higher. And 35 points higher, 25 points higher the third and subsequent times.
One and 2 on Bell.
Tight fastball ties him up.
Clemens is calling timeout. He wants Turner to come out, and they will talk it over. A lot of times this will happen with a runner down at second to make sure they have the signs in case they want to switch the signs. Always flashing multiple signs with the runner at second base. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 men out, 2 men on for the Mets. Top of the 5th here at Yankee Stadium. The runners go, and the pitch is swung on and fouled off to the left side.
Runners just taking off. Both Mora at second and Lenny Harris at first base. With that walking lead, both of them had it. So Alfonzo on deck.
Put her down low and knocked down nicely by Turner. So now it's 2-2. The runner's obviously holding up on that pitch. I think that was the pitch that they thought was coming at 1-2.
Yeah.
And he got the fastball. Of course, Bell's fouled it off.
This pitch down in the dirt played nicely by Turner. You're right, Bobby. I think they were running on that 1-2 pitch, anticipating that ball in the dirt. Instead, Clemens came inside to Bell. He fouled it off.
Maybe the reason they changed signs. Maybe the reason that Turner went out to talk to him. That pitch is up high. Alfonzo waits on deck. Still no score in the game. A 3-2 count, so the runners will be off with this 3-2 pitch. And 2 men out. There they go. Swung on and lined into center field, base hit. Moore will come around to score. Lenny Harris will stop at third. I think he thought he had a chance to come on, but Cookie Rojas put up the stop sign, and Derek Bell has put the Mets in front for the first time in this series.
He has been red hot. You can see how far Clemens missed. Chris Turner sitting on the outside corner, and Roger Clemens missed by about 9 inches. We've said it before, whenever a catcher sets up there and moves to his left, that means it's a bad pitch. And Derek Bell didn't foul it back. He took advantage of it.
And so Bell and the Mets in front 1-0 as Alfonzo steps in. He is 1 for 2. And the pitch is down low. Alfonzo, in order to get a base hit in this series, he had to knock the glove off of Brocious at third. Finally gets off to Schneid in this series. And Alfonzo very dangerous in a situation such as this with 57 runs batted in. He's looking for 58. Clemens asking Turner to go over the signs one more time. Reset them. Down low, ball 2, 2-0. Those numbers that we put up about Clemens as he gets worse as the game goes along are beginning to show its true form here in the 5th inning.
The Mets have 4 hits. They're not last 9 hitters.
Back up the middle, base hit. Harris will come on to score, and the Mets will take a 2-0 lead. This all happening with 2 outs here in the 5th.
Payton flied to center. Todd Pratt struck out. And then a single by Moore, a stolen base, a walk to Harris, a single by Bell, and now on a low fastball, a single by Alfonzo. His 2nd straight hit. And the Mets have scored 2 here with 2 outs. The first time that they have had the lead in these 3 games in this inning.
Alfonzo now with 58 runs batted in is Matt Franco, who went in to run at first base when Piazza was hit by Roger Clemens' pitch in the head back in the 2nd inning. Franco with a base hit to right field. That's strike 1 to Franco. So Glendon Rusch now with a 2-0 lead. He's looking for more. Well, I played in a few Mayor Trophy games around this tri-state area, and never anything like this.
No, this is for real. Those weren't.
Yeah, those weren't for real, for sure.
That was just playtime. This is not.
That was for charity. That was for everybody to have fun and raise some money. Now it's a 1-2 count. This game made possible because of the rainout the last time the Mets and the Yankees got together back in June. And they scheduled it as a twilight split doubleheader.
Turner and Clemens having all sorts of problems. This should not happen. This is the third time that Chris has been out there. It's not that tough, guys. One's a fastball, two's a curve. Figure it out. Now they're going to call Derek Jeter. I'll tell you, if there's any thought about the Mets getting his pitches, forget about it. Come on. And Derek talking, I mean, Derek Bell, Melvin Mora, those guys are more concerned about guys coming in behind them. They're not giving away pitches. Can't make the game too tough.
A lot of times runners at second base will not give pitches, but they will give location, which will indicate a certain pitch.
Derek's looking at Derek Jeter. I don't think Derek Bell has any intention of flashing anything to Matt Franco. Franco wasn't even supposed to start tonight.
Ball 2-2-2.
And the Mets have scored 5 runs in 2.5 games against the Yankees. They're not giving location a lot, I'll tell you that.
There's been some talk about Roger Clemens giving away his own pitches by doing something mechanically wrong.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, he didn't do it the first 4 innings. They didn't score the first 4 innings. Now all of a sudden they're doing it.
I think it has a lot to do with Chris Turner and Roger Clemens not getting together on what pitch they want to throw at a certain time.
That's right.
You've seen Roger many times use that rotation with his hand to start the signals over. Now it's another 3-2 count as Roger, 2 men on and 2 men out. There go the runners. Back up the middle again. This time it's going to be Jeter with the good throw to Tino Martinez, and finally the Mets are gone. They do damage here in the 5th inning. 2 out hits by the New York Mets, and they now lead it 2-0. Back to the stadium as David Justice swings at the first pitch and promptly sends it into right field for a leadoff single. Only the second hit given up by Glendon Rusch. First one coming in the 1st inning from Paul O'Neill.
Hanging curveball right here to Justice. And David spanks one through the right side. You would think that David Justice, with the right field being very friendly to left-handed hitters here at Yankee Stadium, only 314 down the line, about 355 into the position, think he'd have a good career here, but he doesn't. He's only had 3 home runs, and entering the game 8 for 52. He averages out to 154.
Spencer sends the first pitch in the left field for a base hit. So back-to-back base hits by the Yankees here in the bottom of the 5th. And the Yankees have 2 men on, nobody out.
2 pitches, 2 hits here in the 5th inning. So Shane Spencer delivers. Shane entering the first game this afternoon for David Justice, and a double switch when Jason Grimsley came in the game, and now Chris Turner will be up there to bunt, and we'll see if the Mets use the rotation play. They used it one time today. In that, or on that play, the third baseman, first baseman charges. The shortstop goes to third, the second baseman to first. The problem with that play is that it opens up the middle of the infield.
You can throw that play in a trash can as far as I'm concerned.
This is what happened. Shortstop goes to third, second baseman to first. You got to be sure he's bunting.
And the rotation play appeared to be about halfway on, or at least a deep rotation play as the pitch was up high to Turner.
Mets will change this after every pitch. Robin Ventura is the captain on this, looking over to Cookie Rojas. Cookie putting it on or taking it off. They have several variations of that play. It's a good play if you know the guy's bunting. You don't like it.
A lot of movement, a lot of chances for error. Turner with no sacrifice bunts this year. And the rotation play was on. Out in front as Pratt will throw out Turner, but he gets the job done. Yankees with the fewest sacrifice bunts in the majors.
Yeah, you don't really need to bunt a lot in the American League, nor do you need to bunt a lot at Yankee Stadium because of the short porch and right. But a fine bunt by Chris Turner to move him up. It's kind of a half a rotation play then, as Robin Ventura faked home. Of course, the first baseman's always going to be charging. It looked like David Justice could have tweaked the right wrist there, sliding into third.
All right, the tying run is down at second. And a runner on at third with less than 2 outs. And Brocious takes one up high. Infield is back, but the Mets leading 2-0. They will give that runner at third a chance to score, but they will try to cut that runoff down at second if they can. The infield back. 1 ball, 1 strike to Brocious. 8 home runs on the year. Good pitch by Rusch on the outside corner. Now it's 1-2.
Boy, he was ready for that fastball inside. God knows he missed that one. You can see Pratt moving inside. Scott Brocious fouling it straight back. He was ready for it.
Yeah, when I've heard you say many a times, of course we know that when they foul it straight back, that means they're on the pitch. Goes the outside way. Base hit by Brocious. An RBI as David Justice comes on to score, and now it's the Mets 2 and the Yankees 1. And Brocious also moves Shea Spencer over to third, still only 1 out.
Fine at bat by Scott Brocious, an inside fastball punched to right. Justice scores, but Shea Spencer on at second base. Right here, he has to hold up for the line drive. It's a line drive. He doesn't want to get doubled off. So he goes only to third base. Funny, with 2 outs, he's going to try to score. But often the outs dictate whether you run or not in certain situations. But Shane could not tell whether that ball was hit at somebody or not and had to hold up, only went to third.
Knoblauch now stepping in.
Deep down the left field line. Harris back on the wall, and it's a home run, a 3-run shot by Chuck Knoblauch. And the Yankees will take the lead.
Before this swing, Chuck Knoblauch was 0 for 20 against left-handed pitching. His longest drought since 1993. He saved a big one to break out. I thought Lenny Harris caught the ball, Bobby. That was a great call by you, because your eyes are a lot better than mine, partner.
No, they're not. I thought he had caught the ball, too. But I couldn't tell when he turned around. I was just watching for his reaction.
I'm not too sure. He didn't think he had the ball in his glove.
Well, the ball did hit the leather.
Yeah, I think so.
And when he hit the wall, it seemed like that the glove let go of the baseball and it went over for a home run.
I'm not too sure he ever had it in his glove, but if the ball didn't hit the webbing of the glove, it came very, very close.
Knoblauch's first home run since May the 31st. Jeter sends one high and deep to left center field. Harris back on the warning track. This time he does make the catch as he bounces into the wall. Harris has already run here in this game in the last 2 batters to Shea Stadium and back to Yankee Stadium. That's how much ground he has covered.
The loft of the ball gave him a chance to run under it, and Lenny Harris with a fine, fine play. Here's the ball that Knoblauch hit out, a 3-run home run. One more look.
He had it in the webbing.
Well, look, he looks
at it
at it and saying, "Oh,
yeah."
I didn't." Paul O'Neill with a remarkable catch in last night's ball game, and Lenny Harris with a Pertner here at Yankee Stadium. That Pertner doesn't count.
I'll tell you what, can it get any better than what it has gotten here the first 3 games? My goodness. O'Neill now, no balls and 2 strikes, but the Yankees have taken a 4-2 lead. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning as they touche the Mets. Mets jumped out in front 2-0 in the top of the 5th. And boy, the Yankees come barreling back. That's out of play, and the count remains 0-2.
To reiterate that point, Chuck Knoblauch had been 0 for 20 against left-handed pitching until this blow. Did he catch it? You're right, Bobby. You are right on, baby.
That's without LASIK, too.
Nice going. He did have it.
Yeah, he did. That's the reason he made that reaction.
Yeah, the fence, he came back and looked at the glove.
I'll be. Hits the fence, and it knocks it right out of his glove.
In football, the ground cannot cause a fumble, but in baseball, the fence can.
Very good. O'Neill striking out here in the 5th inning. Yankees are finally gone. But Knoblauch's 3-run shot here in the 5th puts the Yankees in front 4-2. Both the Yankees and the Mets. And the answer coming up right after this. Robin Ventura swinging at the first pitch. Knoblauch with the shovel throw over to Martinez. One gone.
Don't punch me. I don't know the answer to that trivia question. Don Baylor. Don Baylor was an MVP, but he played with the Yankees, but he didn't play with the Mets, did he? No.
How about
one of them, Yogi. Yeah, Yogi. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Ricky. Ricky, the MVP in 1990.
Well, an interesting trivia quiz. Always, there's one stumper.
Yeah.
And the Yankees now are stumping this New York Met ball club. Todd Zeal, 1 ball, 1 strike count to Zeal, who's open to. Just a little update on Mike Piazza in between innings. They were saying here in the PA, that Piazza was examined by the home team physician, Stuart Pershon, here at the stadium. They took him to a local hospital to get x-rays. He has a slight concussion and a bad headache, as they say, obviously. And he will continue to stay in the hospital, and there will be more x-rays taken on a precautionary basis. Well hit into right field. O'Neill is tracking it, and he has it. Paul O'Neill has almost manhandled this New York Met offense with plays in right field, not only at Shea Stadium, but here.
Here's Paul O'Neill in last night's game. Derek Bell hit the ball, and O'Neill up over the fence. So was Lenny Harris, but the wrong outcome for the Mets. Harris had it in the web. He dropped it. O'Neill held on to it. So the Yankees once again ahead of the Mets by 2.
And 2 gone for New York here in the 6th as Jay Payton steps in. Payton 0 for 2. Beginning to really make his mark now for the Mets in center field. Tremendous speed, able to run down balls that you wouldn't think that anybody could get to. Now Clemens out in front, no balls and 2 strikes.
I think Jay Payton and Vinny Agbayani, with the Junes that they had, about 14 home runs between them during the month, both hit over 300. It stabilized the outfield. mean, in a big way. Prior to that, the Mets outfield was non-productive. Can't say that anymore.
Well, they had to go through a couple of veteran guys, Ricky Henderson, Bobby Bonilla. Ricky Henderson and Bobby Bonilla not getting along that well with Bobby Valentine. So they have been moved on, and we talked about stabilizing it. That's Agbayani and also Peyton. 101 pitches now by Clemens. Fly ball to right field. O'Neill grabs it in quietly. The Mets are gone here in the 6th. With Tim McCarver, Bernie Williams, a cleanup hitter leading off for the Yankees, followed by Martinez and Injustice. Yankees with 4 runs and 4 hits in the bottom of the 5th inning, highlighted by a Knoblauch home run, and they now lead it 4-2. Bernie's hitting streak ended this afternoon when he went 0 for 2. He was at 17, and he's 0 for 2 in this game.
Hey, the one thing these 3 games have done in a weird sort of way, it's given both bullpens a chance to get a breath. Both bullpens had been worked mightily. The Yankees coming off a 13-9 win over the Orioles, a game in which they had 6 pitchers worked, but the starters in all 3 games have done so well, kept both teams from scoring a lot of runs, that the bullpens have been relatively idle.
And the Yankee bullpen has been relatively working quite a bit here in the first 81 games as Williams strikes out. Well, Continental Airlines proudly presents this date in New York Yankee history, and of course it doesn't take long to make history around here. July the 8th, year 2000, game 1. That actually is game 2, I think it is, and that's game 1 today. Game 1 of this split doubleheader. Tino Martinez with his 8th home run. 3 for 4 in the game 1 over Shea with 3 RBIs.
Mr. Peabody in his Wayback Machine didn't go that far back.
No, he didn't.
We're talking hours, days, all the way back to July 8th. Still history, though.
It is.
Yep.
Tino hit by a pitch and then flying out to right field, so he's officially 0 for 1. Not easy to hit the ball out of Shea Stadium the opposite way. That'll be fouled back and out of play.
Tino with 3 key hits today. You mentioned Bobby driving in 3 of the 4 runs. Mariano Rivera with his 2nd straight save. I'm sure Joe Torre would love to get through this game without having to use Rivera. That's why it's more important for the Yankees to score more runs here.
And the late breaking ball from Glendon Rusch, striking out another left-hander. 8 strikeouts now for Rusch.
Bobby, we talked about it earlier, but we are seeing guys. We saw Paul O'Neill strike out on a call, strike 3. We've seen Glendon Rusch strike out 8. And to say again what we said earlier, when you play a game, of course it was a beautiful day at Shea, not a lot of humidity. But you play a game, you eat a meal, you try to gear it up one more time and tee it up one more time at night. It is tough. It's tough to get the bones going again.
Not only for baseball players, but also broadcasters too. I mean, you've been at the yard since probably about 8 o'clock this morning when you showed up at Shea Stadium, right? Well, Glendon Rusch, let's take a look at our Nissan quote book. I really learned a lot by watching a guy by the name of Tom Glavine. You heard of him, watching his demeanor on the mound. You don't see any emotion as far as him getting mad at himself.
Tom Glavine, the winner in last night's game at Fenway Park. Braves have won 2 in a row against the Red Sox. And as we said earlier, now lead the Mets by 3.5.
Todd Pratt, who caught Glendon Rusch's first game here with the New York Mets, called him a Glavine-esque guy. I mean, he said he looked and reminded him a lot like Tom Glavine.
Only difference about 230 wins.
Yeah, he's got a long ways to go to catch up, but you got to start someplace, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Dropping down on Justice as Justice pops it up. Peyton takes care of it, and the Yankees go quietly here in the 6th. 1, 2, 3.
Spirit refreshed, huh?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Bring on the Guinness. I'm not talking about the Guinness Book of Records either. More so for you than me. You've had a harder day than I have,
sir.
I'll tell you.
How about that?
Well, we go to the top of the 7th inning, and Todd Pratt will lead it off for the Mets. Fouling the first pitch back and out of play.
Think about Roger Clemens starting today's game. Doc Gooden won the Cy Young Award in 1985. Everybody knows Roger Clemens has won it 5 times. This is the first time that the Yankees have had 2 former Cy Young Award winners start both ends of a doubleheader. Thinking of today as a doubleheader. It's a day-night doubleheader. Since April 7th, 1996 at Texas, when Doc Gooden and David Cohn started a regular doubleheader down there. Last time it happened in the majors happened for the Red Sox on August 18th, 98, when Pedro Martinez and Brett Saberhagen started 2 games of a doubleheader.
Now, I don't know in the National League. I mentioned that we used to play a lot of split doubleheaders at Boston at Fenway and also Minnesota. What about in the National League? Did you remember playing many split doubleheaders?
Not many, a few.
Yeah.
I could certainly relate to them. But Boston used to play them all the time, from what I understand, because the small part wanted to get 2 gates.
Both gates.
Yeah. Baltimore.
High fly ball to right field. Bernie will go a long ways to call O'Neill on, so he makes the play. 1 gone. Also Calvin Griffith, you know, with the Minnesota Twins, when he owned it, did a lot of split doubleheading over there.
The last time I can remember playing a split doubleheader was when a game was called off after the death of Robert Kennedy in Cincinnati. Matter of fact, the Players Association was involved, and we with the Cardinals opted not to play that night. So they rescheduled it the next time in as a day-night doubleheader to get the 2 dates, which was fine with us, since in honor of Robert Kennedy, we didn't want to play that particular night.
And of course, the history-making doubleheader that we're playing here in New York is that the first game was played, a split doubleheader at Shea Stadium. And then they all moved over here to Yankee Stadium to play the second game of this double dip. 1 ball, 1 strike count now to Melvin Mora. It was Mora who got the Mets started in the 5th inning with a 2-out base hit to right field. And then after that, the Mets scored a couple of runs in the top of the 5th. And on the hands, it fouled back and out of play. Now it's 1-2. How will the Mets do at shortstop? Mora will give them a lot of offense. He has been a little bit shaky at short.
Has 5 errors, but it seems like they've been key errors for Bobby Valentine and the Mets and himself. Sometimes when you have a substitute like that, you just have to take the good with the bad and hope the good outweighs the bad by a lot. And with Mora, I think you get that. He's a very versatile player. He's not the shortstop that Ray Ordonez is, but who defensively is, but he's going to give them more offense. And I guess the question is, can they live with his defense? So far, Bobby Valentine feels that they can.
Maybe a better outfielder than an infielder, Melvin Mora.
Remember the great throws and assists? He had 4 assists in the National League Championship Series against Atlanta last year.
Boy, those guys mean so much to a ball club today. Being able to play many positions and play them fairly well for you. You never know when you're going to be called upon. But Ray Ordonez, it appears, may not play the rest of the year. He is out for sure. Out of play right side.
Ray Ordonez making a tag on Mark Grudzielanek of the Los Angeles Dodgers, where he had to swing around to his left, and the force of the left forearm catching Grudzielanek in the leg certainly was not a bad slide by Grudzielanek. Grudzielanek, a clean play, and he broke his arm cleanly and will miss the rest of the season.
Line into right field, but O'Neill is there. 2 gone for the Mets. They're in the 7th.
Tell you, Mora, a very interesting guy. You see Lenny Harris right there. Mora, a guy who played soccer in Venezuela. But this is that play one more time on Chuck Knoblauch's drive to left. Caught by Lenny Harris, dropped over the wall. Thought he had it? Nope.
Knoblauch at second to throw out Lenny Harris. Once again, the Mets are gone. 1, 2, 3. The stadium, the 7th inning stretch is over with, and the Yankees will send up Spencer, Turner, and Brocious. Here in the bottom of the 7th, 4-2, New York leads it. And Spencer involved in that 4-run 5th inning for the Yankees with a base hit to left field. Eventually came around to score. Rusch delivering outside. Now it's 2 balls and a strike. You can see just how quickly Todd Pratt, once he catches the ball, it's back to Glendon Rusch as he sets himself to pitch.
There's a certain rhythm between a pitcher and a catcher, and a catcher tries to abide by a pitcher's rhythm. He wants to work slowly. He allows him to work slowly. But working fast, Glendon Rusch with 9 strikeouts.
1 gone. Let's take a look at the AIG 7th inning recap. And it started off with Mike Piazza being hit in the head. Retaliation by Rusch as Tino Martinez was flung. And played umpire warning both benches. The Mets got on top in the 5th inning. 2-0. But Chuck Knoblauch with a 3-run home run as Lenny Harris couldn't hold on to it. And it was the Yankees, by the time that inning was over with, leading it 4-2 as you take a look at the game summary. Our AIG 7th inning game summary.
That, by the way, those 9 strikeouts, a career high for Glendon Rusch.
Two balls and a strike down to Turner. Beautiful sacrifice bunt to move the runners up in his last at bat. Helped set up that 5th inning. High for a ball. Now it's 3-1.
Tell you, Bobby, this is the way the Yankees have played the last 4 games, and I know it's a small sample. They've won 6 of 7, however. Could spell bad news for the American League East because the Yankees are starting to resemble the team, I think, for the first time this year. They were 22-9 on their first 6 weeks of the season.
Inside corner, strike 3. That's number 10 for Glendon Rusch. I agree with you.
Yeah, they're starting to look like the team they were last year, the year before. It might be premature. It might be too small a sample, but we are not grasping at straws. They were behind 7-0 to the Baltimore Orioles in the bottom of the 2nd inning on Thursday. They came back to score 8. They won that game 13-9. They win 2-1 on Friday night. They win today, and they're ahead by coming back ahead by 2 in this ball game.
Brocious swinging at the first pitch as Derek Bell puts it away. Pitching staff beginning to come together.
Right.
That spells trouble for the American League.
Mets have out-hit the Yankees 6-5, but the Yankees on top, trying to make it 3 in a row in about 25 hours.
You know, we were
Not
talking
good
about
today.
Talking about the starters, the Yankees turning around, as you mentioned, Timmy. Hernandez, 8 innings pitched, and what a job. He has become the biggest game pitcher on this staff. And Dwight Gooden, the doctor. I mean, what a story is that? I mean, that is almost unbelievable that Doc Gooden out of baseball, the Yankees reviving the career down in Tampa, coming up with a new pitch, finds himself pitching in one of the biggest games in New York history. and wins it for the Yankees this afternoon. The first game of the split doubleheader. Gooden has a New York Yankee uniform on once again.
If Doug Gooden gets blown out today, that could very well have been the last game he pitched in the major leagues. As it was, he was the winner. Here's Derek Bell to lead off the 8th. Outside from Clemens. Roger Clemens has to face the meat of the Met lineup here in the top of the 8th. Bell, Alfonzo, and Matt Franco, who's in at the DH spot when Mike Piazza was hit in the helmet his first at bat. Line to right field. O'Neill back, and Paul can't get to it. The throw to second base, overthrown. So Bell with a double, and that is his 3rd hit of the night. He had 2 this afternoon.
Well, you get to a feeling that Paul O'Neill will just catch up with everything. He doesn't catch up with this one. Line shot, and it's over the head of Paul. Seems like any time a ball has been hit out of the outfield, O'Neill is able to catch it, including home run ball. Roger thought he was going to catch it, and when he found out he didn't, he was taking his position behind third in case there was an overthrow.
Mike Stanton is one of the pitchers out in the Yankee bullpen. Mel Stottlemyre calling down to find out if they're ready as Alfonzo steps up. He is 2 for 3, 2 singles, and the fastball high from Clemens. Jeff Nelson has joined Stanton now. Stanton working 3 1/3 innings to get the win in the game on Thursday against the Orioles, and is the most likely guy to come in the game, perhaps to pitch to Franco, who's on deck. 1-0 to Alfonzo. Strike one, 1-1. If Alfonzo wants to hit a ground ball to the right side, Clemens will say, "Here, be my guest. Move the runner along." Trail him by 2. So that's not Alfonzo's objective here. 4-2 Yankees here in the 8th. High, ball 2, 2-1.
A little bit different story. Alfonzo may take a shot at moving the ball to the right side for a base hit, maybe even a push bunt or whatever. But now that Mike Piazza is not in the lineup hitting behind him, it makes it a little bit of a different thought process for your offense.
Yeah, he's not going to give himself up. He's too good a hitter to give himself up to move the runner along.
No, I was talking about for a base hit.
That's his natural stroke to the right side anyway. A guy who uses all parts of the field, and like Derek Jeter with 2 strikes, tries to go to right. It's 2-2 now to Alfonzo.
One of the very few breaking balls that Clemens has thrown tonight.
That's true.
Mostly fastballs in the split finger. Had a pretty good tight spin on it.
6, 7 sliders maybe.
Yeah.
Fastball misses. Full count now to Alfonzo.
Something sort of like Doc Gooden this afternoon. He had come up with that screwball, and he threw about 8 screwballs in the game today, but it was just enough to keep the offense and the hitters off balance. John Stearns along the side. Bobby Valentine, his bench coach, John Stearns is.
Fly ball center field, playable. Bell tagging. Bernie does not have a good arm, and Bell doesn't test it. And a fine throw by Bernie Williams. Say Bernie's arm is average for a center fielder. Well, here's Matt Franco. So here comes Joe Torre, and it looks like Mike Stanton's going to be the pitcher to force Valentine to make a move. Seven and a third innings for Roger Clemens. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by AT&T.
Look at our next homestand for the Yankees. Marlins come into town as interleague play continues. Thursday through Saturday, and they will be followed by the Philadelphia Phillies on the 16th, 17th, and 18th, and then the Tigers into Yankee Stadium on the 19th and 20th, followed by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Tickets available at the stadium box office and also at the Yankee Clubhouse stores. Well, talking about Yankee Stadium, Tim, remember back on Father's Day when we had Tommy Lasorda up here, Mike Milliken. We're talking about the prostate cancer screening and research, and highlighting that more than 25,000 New York area men took advantage of that New York Daily News prostate cancer screening program. And as a result of the program, them bringing that to light, guys going out, approximately 2,500 men were identified as having a elevated PSA. And of course, that's a primary indicator of prostate cancer. And then based on the success of the program, the Daily News Continuing Health Partners Incorporated and St. Vincent's Catholic Medical Center of New York will make this program an annual event now. Oh, what a great thing that is.
I should say, and it's something that all of us men should take advantage of, is Benny Agbayani pinch hits for Matt Franco with the Yankees on top by 2, 1 out, 1 on here in the 8th inning, and a changeup cued toward first. Tough play, Stanton, and a good play, Stanton. Bell moves to third. A very good play by Mike Stanton, because keep in mind, a left-hander is going to fall toward the third base side before he has to make this play.
And keep in mind that Mike Stanton has the worst fall-offs of any pitcher on the mound. Able to recover here on the ball off of the end of the bat. You can see Mike Stanton was headed towards the right side and quickly recovers, picking the ball up and then tagging the runner.
So a very good adjustment by Stanton. Bell is at third. There are now 2 outs, and Robin Ventura, the batter. Ventura 0 for 11 in this series. Make that 1 for 11. 2 strikeouts and a ground out. He's not gotten the ball out of the infield in this game. 0 for 3. Ball outside. Mariano Rivera pitched last night and today. Does Joe Torre bring him in the 9th? Save situation, or does he stay with Stanton? Outside corner. Or do the Yankees have a save situation in the 9th inning? 1-1 to Ventura.
Robin Ventura not hitting for average. He's got 16 home runs, 53 runs batted in. As we take a look into the Yankee bullpen, that's Jeff Nelson. He also pitched this afternoon.
Foul back, 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Ventura. Mariano Rivera loosens.
Very familiar sign this time of game for Mariano. My point being, Ventura wedged in between Alfonzo and Piazza. Most of the time we're backing Piazza up, seeing a lot of right-handers because the Mets always are putting up a dominant right-handed hitting lineup. You would think that Ventura would have a tremendous opportunity with a lot of right-handed hitters.
Got him! A high fastball gets Robin. Lenny Harris had the ball, and when he hit the fence, it went over the fence. Chuck Knoblauch has had a busy 24 hours. And all sorts of controversy twice today. The Mets protested that game, by the way, on the first pitch of the game. Fly ball center field, and Payton comes up with it. 1 out. Let's go back to this afternoon's game on that single to right center by Knoblauch.
Well, it only happens to be the first pitch of the game, and it turns out to be a very controversial play and may have been the reason the Yankees win it. Lee Mazzelli pointing to the umpire there at first base about interference and impediment by Todd Field at first base. Bobby Valentine going out and retracing the steps, and he eventually was thrown out of the game on the first pitch on our General Motors play of the game. And this Subway Series has lacked nothing. That excitement just won't get you. I mean, it's just almost unbelievable that there's something going on all the time. And Fox 5, our Fox network, had Timmy, you guys had Mike Lee Mazzelli.
Unbelievable.
That was unbelievable you caught that.
How many times do you mic a first base coach? And to his credit, it was Lee Mazzelli who sold that play to first base umpire Rob Cook. Change up in there to Derek Jeter, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lee Mazzelli, or Dana DeMuth, saying Bobby was under the thinking that there has to be contact. There does not have to be contact. But I don't think Rob Cook would have called the play had not Mazzelli sold it.
I agree with you.
Ground ball, right side. There does not have to be contact. The way I saw it, Bobby, and I'm not saying that Zeal did not impede with Knoblauch, but if I were Bobby Valentine and I were Steve Phillips, how I would argue it is that there was no contact and Knoblauch did not break his stride when he rounded first base. That to me was a key, and there was a third element also. When Knoblauch slid into second base, he was out and he immediately ran toward the Yankee dugout. Now the runner, even more than the first base coach, would know if there were interference. And Knoblauch thought that there was no interference whatsoever. That's why he ran off the field. As a matter of fact, Mazzelli had to call him back saying, hey, get back here. That was obstruction. So it was Maz more than anybody else, in my view, that sold that to Rob Cook, the first base umpire. Had he not done that, I don't think obstruction is called. Watch Knoblauch. There's no breaking of stride.
You did have to go around Zeal a little bit. Zeal was watching the play along with Knoblauch. And that was what Lee Mazzelli was pointing at.
Ground ball toward short, as you saw. At least that's how I would argue it if I were Bobby Valentine. Jose Vizcaíno in there at second base for Chuck Knoblauch. Chuck with a big 3-run home run, and it is Mariano Rivera trying for his second save of the day. Our TV schedule, ESPN does tomorrow night's game. Brought to you by Jeep, by the way. And then the Florida Marlins come in after the All-Star break. Bobby and I will be on the air at 7 o'clock on Thursday. Those feisty, plucky Florida Marlins. And the Mets can tell you that. They beat the Mets 2 out of 3 Monday, Tuesday of last week in Florida. And then Old Timers Day on Saturday. 7 o'clock Friday, 2:30. And Don Mattingly return. And a very svelte Bobby Murcer will be in uniform and probably have a couple of at-bats that day. And
trying to get in shape right now.
Play a shallow right.
I'm hurrying into shape.
Here's Todd Zeal. Zeal has been known to bunt when his team needs a base runner. He's a good bunter. Brocious almost even with the bag at third base. Not going to surprise him. Todd pops it up. Some pop-up. 350 feet away from home plate. Told you my bulbs are going. 1 out on 1 pitch here in the ninth.
Well, it started out as a pop-up, and it just went.
You know, this wind here at Yankee Stadium all of a sudden picked up and blew what was a pop-up into a fly ball. It's
well, the
amazing
wind that you are noticing is coming from the Yankee fans as they are enjoying every minute of this Subway Series.
And Joe Buck was talking about it on the network game today. Before last night started, a case could be made that the Mets had surpassed the Yankees as far as back page publicity in New York City. If the Yankees win this game, for a while, that'll stop, and you can book that. Ground ball to short. Jeter bobbles it. So the normally steady Derek Jeter, the ball hit the heel of the glove, and Peyton is aboard with Todd Pratt coming up.
It appeared that Derek took his eye off the ball. No, it just, he backhanded it, and it hit the heel of the glove. Yeah, you can see it right there. He never got the glove turned in the proper position. 11 errors now for Jeter at short off of the heel of the glove, but that gives new life to the Mets.
Todd Pratt, the hero of last year's division series, fouls it away. The home run in the 10th inning. That put the Mets, that was against Arizona, the center field at Shea, that put the Mets in the National League Championship Series against Atlanta.
Well, I know this Twilight split doubleheader has certainly been a success with this Subway Series. How about a tripleheader?
0-1 to Pratt. Yankees looking for 1 out, but they'll take 2.
There was a tripleheader played 80 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Between Cincinnati and Pittsburgh.
Wow.
For the right to claim 3rd place, as a matter of fact. A tripleheader.
How important. Just inside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Pratt. Fly ball by Todd Zeile, and then the error by Jeter, his 11th of the year. Bobby Valentine sees life for his Mets. It's 2 balls and a strike to Pratt. Fly ball, left field, playable. Spencer, 2 outs. One of the remarkable things about Rivera is, from an announcer standpoint, you learn to take your time on fly balls. Because when hitters make contact, even on the back part of the bat, the ball doesn't carry. I have never quite seen a pitcher throw 1 pitch as consistently as Rivera does and have the type of success that he has had over his 5 years with New York.
Well, with that little cutter that Rivera throws these right-handed hitters, when they make the full swing, the ball is cutting away from the meat of the bat. So a lot of times when they take that full swing, they don't get the ball, they don't hit it solidly.
That's right. What you think is the meat of the bat
turns out to be the tip in.
Off toward the end of the bat. Mark Johnson, formerly with the Pirates, called up from Norfolk, will be the pinch hitter for Melvin Mora. Bobby Valentine looking for the long ball and hopes Johnson, with power, obviously he's 6'7", can take advantage of the 314 down the right field line. There goes the runner. The Yankees giving Payton second base. Could be indifference and no stolen base. We'll see how it's scored. He's at second. The Yankees are up by 2 here in the 9th inning with 2 outs. Payton on at second. 0-1 to Johnson. No stolen base was given to Payton, so indifference. But this crowd is anything but indifferent. About split between Yankees and Mets at Shea Stadium, but here overwhelmingly for the home team. Ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Johnson. Outfielders will not even make a play on Payton should a hit reach the outfield. It will be second base and second base only. High, ball 2, 2-2.
One thing that Rivera has, and Bobby Valentine knows along with his hitters, is that Rivera has impeccable control. He not only throws that cutter and he throws it 90+ miles an hour, but he can point it and pinpoint it on the inside or outside corner.
Ground ball right side. Vizcaíno to Martinez, and the Yankees have beaten the Mets 3 in a row. This has got to be the most frustrating 3 games that Bobby Valentine has seen the Mets play since he managed taking over for Dallas Green some 3.5 years ago.
Well, the New York Mets, Steve Phillips, when this game was rained out, they didn't want to make it a split doubleheader here at Yankee Stadium and Shea Stadium. If it was up to them, they would not have played it. But the commissioner's office in Major League Baseball said it was all right. Let's do it. And I think it was great, and I think it's been great, and it will continue to be great for the New York fans to have something like this to root for. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. And right now, the Mets have caught the Yankees on a hot streak.